Number 10. Number of, in quotes again on my part, DNAs affected each time. Again, DNA is a molecule. Okay? And with genetics we deal with parts of that molecule. The base pairs, the codons, the genes, the transposons, the chromosomes. The question here is, there's not enough information in the question to even understand what he's asking. I think I'm getting a cold. Excuse me if I do this coughing. I don't think I'm going to edit this out. So, number 10 is a completely irrelevant question. It can't be answered. It can't even be, assumed in such a way that it can be answered. Okay. Number 11, chances of losing the beneficial mutation in successive generations. It depends on selective pressures. It depends on the beneficial nature of the mutation, how long that mutation has been in the population, and how many sorry about that, and how many mutations, and how many individuals have that mutation. It's a very complex one. I really can't give you an answer on this. It would depend, you would have to really examine a lot and do some very difficult statistical analysis to give this question an answer. But I would say that, once a mutation, a beneficial mutation has spread throughout a significant portion of the population, it will be retained probably throughout the existence of that species. In some cases, several hundreds of millions of years. So, number 12. Chances that the mutations benefit not offset by related detriments. Now, from his video, I get that he believes that all mutations have some form of detriment. Of course, this is not true. Beneficial mutations don't necessarily have detriments. Neutral mutations don't necessarily have detriments. And even deleterious mutations don't necessarily leave a population simply because they're deleterious, because they don't have a strong enough effect on the reproductive success of the organism. A good example would be the genes in relation to hemophilia. These people, with hemophiliacs survive and they reproduce. They have a deleterious mutation, but it's not too bad. Yeah, especially if they're careful. So, his assumption that all mutations have some form of detriment is incorrect. In fact, many mutations affecting, say, a codon, which codes for a specific amino acid base, if that mutation occurs in the third letter of that codon, it often has absolutely no effect on the codon itself or what the codon does. So, mutations don't necessarily have detrimental effects. Sorry, but that's not how it works. Okay, continuing on. Population sizes needed at each generation. It's one of those questions, again, that I can't answer. Not because I couldn't look up an answer or figure out an answer, but simply because there's not enough information there to understand what he's really asking. So, we'll just skip on to the next one. Amount of time for a new generation to mutate. 1 generation. Simple as that. Mutations occur all the time. Every generation has mutations. So if a generation happens in every year, then every year you have a generation with a new mutation, with new set of mutations. Humans, like I said, it's about 15 years. 18 in the West here. Some places perhaps younger, but average is 15 years. So, there's your answer to that one. Total evolutionary time available. Well, in his video he tries to limit it to 1 billion years, but I'm not going to fall for that. You don't get to redefine things. Life has been on this planet for 3.5 billion years or so, maybe more, probably a little bit more. And anyways, your number 16 question basically asks the total odds of obtaining 10 million unique species from a single cell by random mutation and natural selection. Single cells existed 3.5 billion years ago, so we have to go all the way back. So, and I did quite a bit of little math here just to kind of mess with this. Now, the smallest genome in nature has about 480 base pairs. Really odd organism found in the ocean. As a matter of fact, it's one of the most abundant organisms in the ocean. It's a weird little microbe. 480 base pairs, there's like almost nothing there. It's like, oh, it's exceedingly simple. If you ask me, if you want to ask me, I can look it up and find out what it is. But to be honest, I don't remember the name of it. The largest genome is not humans, even though a lot of creationists tend to think so. But it's actually an amoeba. And it has about 600 billion base pairs. Roughly about 2, and that's per haploid. That's about 200 times more genetic material than humans have on our haploid, or 100 more information than humans have, base pairs than humans have on our diploids. It has a huge genome. And because the math here would be so much more complicated, I'm really just generalizing this. I want to start with the first 2.5 billion years, because that was mostly bacteria. And we have a rough estimate on the rate of mutation in bacteria. I'm actually going to use the human rate, which is close. And we know the population size of bacteria today is about 5 times 10 to the 30th. So I'm going to use that figure as well. So, I'm using, most bacteria reproduce in only a few hours. I'm actually using 3 months. So I'm giving them a much longer reproductive cycle than they really have. Again, the hedge on the creationist side, try to be nice. Not really. So, in the first 2.5 billion years, there are roughly 10 billion generations. And we can multiply that by the 5 times 10 to the 30th individuals per population. So that gives us a potential of total of 5 times 10 to the 40th organisms over that period of time. And I'm using the human genome size just for ease of use. And I'm actually using a figure of 10 to the negative 8th mutations per generation. So if you hang on with me, I'll actually re-crunch this math because I screwed up somewhere on that. So we have 5 times 10 to the 40th, and we multiply that by 1 times 10 to the negative 8th, and we get a number of 5 times 10 to the 32nd potential mutations in the end population after 2.5 billion years. That's a large number. That's huge. Of course, most of those mutations don't survive, even the beneficial ones. Well, these are the beneficial ones. Oh no, wait, they're not the beneficial ones. I screwed up again. See, it's late. I gotta multiply this by 0.01.